late, which partly that's for security, because you're travelling kind of through the night in London. You're not always sure who you're going to come across. And, Bunzl are carrying some kind of, kind of high price goods. So, they might have to think about, double manning their vehicles. So it's quite, sometimes I think people take the view, well, if it's not broke, why fix it? But it's going to have to be the way, because say cities like London, kind of Transport for London, they'll stipulate it before long that you can't have kind of these delivery trucks going through the city and parking up. So I think they'll end up with no choice anyway.
Yes. Yeah. Interesting. To what extent can you quantify the value added which is produced for you by a company like Bunzl? Or if you look at it like that?
Yeah, so, well, I think firstly in terms of buying power, a lot of the products on our catalogue are what you might call kind of fairly small volume lines. We might be buying a few thousand of them a year, but in the whole scheme of things, the volume isn't that huge. And often the products have to be sourced from outside of the UK, quite often from the Far East. So, if I think about kind of the size of team that I would need to source those products, I would need kind of a fairly sizable team. And it just wouldn't, we couldn't really afford to do it. It wouldn't justify itself. So actually using somebody like Bunzl, who are kind of consolidating that volume, is just for us kind of a much more efficient way of doing it. Because bizarrely, we've got, I think, as many products on our kind of Bunzl non-food catalogue as we have on our food catalogue, which is just absolutely crazy. But there are just so many different products they supply. And people kind of aren't generally kind of very efficient about kind of taking products off the catalogue. They just keep adding to it. So, it's a complex thing to manage. And kind of Bunzl do it pretty well. So from a cost point of view, it's good. Also from an ethical point of view as well, a lot of these suppliers, as I say, kind of out in the Far East. And if you kind of consider the Modern Slavery Act, potentially kind of they're sourcing from countries where slavery could occur. And they're those types of products. So again, from an ethical point of view, they're doing all of those ethical audits, which we would have to do otherwise. And that would be quite costly and quite difficult for us to do. But it's important for us to know that we're buying from ethical sources and, the products are being sourced in an ethical way. So again, they do that piece of work. They manage the majority of the suppliers. If there's some of the products in the catalogue are products which are bespoke to us, so it might be a particular plate that we stock that we've actually done the deal ourselves with the manufacturer. But again, Bunzl will take it into their depot. They'll store it for us in the warehouse, and then restaurants will order and they'll distribute it for them. So they kind of manage all of that for us as well. They're managing the stock holding so that we know there's always stock, and then they're paying the suppliers as well and consolidating it into one invoice that we just pay to Bunzl. Yeah. So there's a lot kind of going on in the background, which if we didn't have a company like them, we'd have to do it ourselves, and I'd probably need a team of about 3 people. And it wouldn't be worth it. See, the business doesn't, a restaurant business like ours, it doesn't see Bunzl's types of products as kind of what we'd call kind of core products. So the reason I say that is that, customers don't come to our restaurant and go, the reason I come to, Las Iguanas or Bella Italia is because I love the plate they serve the food on. People just don't say that, but they might come and say, I really love Las Iguanas because I love the South American curry that they produce. And that's really core to us. So the business is really focused around putting our buying resource and development resource into developing and buying the right food products. Whereas the plate, there's some interest in it. But if I said I'd need a team to start sourcing it, they'd say, you'd be joking. That's not what we're going to do.
Yeah. Very interesting. Can I just ask you, I have a colleague who's going to be joining the call. Now, he's a couple of minutes late. I don't know why. But presumably he can just join this call any time.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think he just dials in and he'll just be conference called in.
Okay. Because I don't know why he has not done this. So would you mind if I put you on hold and I just
Of course.
him just